Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer Podcast. This is your host, Katy Ray. I am joined with Grethel today. I met Grethel at a networking event.
Yep.
One of my friends was throwing Danielle in I don't remember, like that clothing place.
Valhalla.
But thank you. I knew you could help me. I was like, it's something with a V. But I met her and I just absolutely loved her energy. And we just started talking. And I'm like, you need to be on my podcast. Again, people connecting people. I love that about just life and growing up and knowing that you can meet people at any stage of life, right? And she is a nurse, which nurses have my heart. My dad's been a nurse for like 40 years. But she is also a fitness coach. So not only is she saving people's lives in the hospital, but she's saving people's lives in the gym and at home personally. So I love that about you, that you took on both. And I would love to know, like, if your vision is not to be a nurse one day or like all that kind of fun stuff. But we'll get into that. But welcome to the show.
So happy to be here.
I know. Is this your first podcast?
Yes, first podcast ever.
Love that. I love that about Not a Great Whisperer. We're the first for many. So I want to talk about when you went to nursing school, getting through that, first of all, because that's a huge accomplishment. And then kind of your journey into fitness coaching, because that came while you were in nursing school? Or
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So kind of tell me about how you kind of did both. And enjoy the roosters in the background. Go on.
I love it. So, once upon a time.
Here's our story.
So, I honestly, so there's some people in nursing school who are like, yes, I always wanted to be a nurse, and this is exactly what I was meant to do. And I didn't really stumble upon nursing that way. It sort of started out where I was in community college because I'm cheap and I didn't want student loans. And I was just taking a couple of classes. I took anatomy and physiology, and I got straight A's, and I was like, okay, all right.
I'm pretty good at this.
Let me take A&P too. I got straight A's in it too. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's do microbiology. And I mean, my grades were still like A's and B's. Mm-hmm. And I was actually like, wow, I actually love learning about this stuff. And we had an RN that came in and talked to our class. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should be a nurse. Well,
here I am.
Here I am. After 2 years of crying weekly, exam after exam.
It's hard.
It's been the most incredible thing to do, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think about what a privilege it is, the fact that I take care of people's grandparents, people's moms, people's like brothers, sisters, friends, and I don't take that lightly. I know that, you know, my job is not easy. It's emotionally and physically very draining. But at the same time, I know that I make a difference in people's lives. Mm-hmm. And one of the most vulnerable moments that they ever have. And I definitely don't take that lightly.
Oh, so. What department are you in?
So I am on a cardiac PCU floor. So I'm a step down from ICU. So I get everything from strokes to heart attacks, diabetes.
Answering family questions all the time. And
yep. I am a day shifter now. So,
but I feel like your mindset, just being a nurse, it's sometimes I see in the generation of just like, let me be a nurse. It's an awesome gig. I could work 4 days straight and be hours 3 days straight or whatever. Yep. But it's like, this is a people-focused job. Yes. Like this is putting someone, like you're just, I love your mindset on that. Just that you don't take it lightly. Like this is a serious gig.
Yeah.
You got a serious gig on your hands.
Well, and with anything in life, whether it has to do with fitness or your health or being in the hospital, I love to put the power back in people's hands. Mm-hmm. So when I have patients who tell me, oh, well, the doctor just told me to do this, so I'm doing it. Or, you know, the nurse just came in here and gave me this medication. And I'm like, ask questions. Yeah. You know, you have the privilege of actually you're oriented, you know what's going on. You have the power to, you know, this is your life.
And that's so good you say that too, because it's scary how people just put all this trust without asking any questions. And you've probably seen it firsthand where sometimes people should not be in the medical industry that are taking advantage of people. But it's like you're giving them the education they need. Like ask the question that you just asked me. Like they just gave you that. So during your graduation of nursing and all of that, like did you stay focused on your own fitness and wellness?
So my fitness journey has been interesting in terms of the fact that I did not play sports growing up. It just was not necessarily something. My parents didn't really have the resources to allow me to stay in after school programs. It costs money, and my parents worked so much that they kind of just wanted me to be at home more. So I didn't play sports. So I don't have the story where I'm like, yeah, I love fitness all my life and all of that. And I never really saw fitness as something that is just a part of life. Mm-hmm. When, after college and stuff, I was living on my own. I remember doing YouTube videos and stuff and just doing little home workouts. And I was like, well, this is cool. But it was definitely more from I want to change the way my body looks sort of mindset. Not necessarily a
health.
Oh, this is actually really beneficial for my health. And I've kind of made it a mission of mine to teach women that fitness is really about, giving to our bodies, not necessarily taking from them.
And how you feel. It's literally a feeling. I love that. I love that mindset. And you're mindful.
Mindful lifts.
Mindful lifts. Yeah, we'll go over it later, but it comes from there. But I love that you're showing people you don't have to be athletic your whole childhood to enjoy fitness. This is it, how it works. But you're totally right with just how women look at, I need to work out because I need to look good in this dress.
Yeah.
Or I know that I am going to get back on my workout regimen after being a lot of people stay as active as possible, but I was kind of restricted in the beginning. Mm-hmm. So you can't really jump right back into the routine you had when you were pregnant. And I know how I felt on my routine, and that's the only reason I know I'll go back to it. It wasn't for the look, because I'm living large right now, but it's more for how great I felt. I just knew it helped me stay focused. I was just at a good balance in my life, and it just felt good to lift. And lift, not just run to stay thin, right? I hate the word thin.
Yes.
I think someone called my daughter skinny the other day, and I was like, no.
Yes.
Healthy.
I have this thing where and me, with my future children, the way that I want to describe them, I don't want to look at them and be like, oh, you look so skinny, or I want to be like, you look strong. Mm-hmm. You look.
I do that. I'm so lame. I do it all the time. Yeah. And I'm always like, this does work though, because not my mom didn't tell us we were beautiful or anything that, but all the pictures you see on magazines or something like that, it gets into your head, not realizing, but you're just becoming part of society's brainwashing where you're like, oh, I have to be thinner. Yes. I don't know what thigh gap is. My daughter will not know what thigh gap is. I've owned it. I've accepted it.
My thighs love each other.
They love each other so much they can't stop touching each other.
They can't break up.
But I'm just it's crazy how you would look and be like, do I need my legs just not touch each other? No, enjoy I love my quads and my thighs. But you're right. You have to get to that stage. And it's funny how you said you did YouTube videos and you were like, this is fun. Where other people are like, this is torture. This is fun. I'll enjoy it.
Well, so for me, I really wanted, I've always been envious of people who are like, yeah, I played soccer. I did all these things when I was a kid, and I didn't have that. So for me, I was trying to be an athlete. I was just trying to find something that I was good at. Ironically, I went into pole dancing. So we can kind of get into that. That's kind of how...
That's so much strength, though.
Yes. That is literally how I started strength training.
So you just took a class. You were like, I'm going to do this.
Yes. I used to have a friend who she did pole dancing, and I always looked at her and I'm like, oh, well, she does it because she's skinny. She does it because she looks a certain way. And, therefore, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. I don't look like that. And then I took a class, and it was all types of women.
That's so cool.
And I was like,
I love that
wow.
was your you're pole dancing athletic as fuck right now.
Yeah,
you're
exactly. But really though, I was like, okay, how I'm a questioner. If you know anything about Gretchen Rubin's 4 tendencies, I'm a questioner. So for me, I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, how does that woman get much better at actually pulling up on the pole? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. She must have really strong lats. Go to Google. How to get stronger lats.
Oh my gosh. You do that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, no, that's me.
Yeah. That's how I started literally. And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I should be a certified personal trainer. I don't have to train anybody, but I just want to learn about all of this. I literally, if you look at my bookcase, I have textbooks on textbooks of strength training. I have like this like anatomy, like workout textbook. And that's literally just how I started because I really just genuinely wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And it actually made me better at other things like pole dancing.
Yeah.
Ironically enough. And yoga. It literally changed everything for me.
Oh my gosh. So you know a ton about yoga too.
I do. I love yoga for
I love yoga too.
obviously just like there's nothing like at the end of it when you just like lay on your back
I know.
and you're in
I did it.
savasana and you're just like, yes.
And they're like, don't think of anything. And you're like, how do you do this? How do you have a blank mind? But it's
Yeah.
hard. It's definitely practice. I'm not that person that you are with the Googly thing.
That's okay. I'm crazy.
But I love that. Because also I feel like nursing was that for you as well. So it kind of gave you that basis of understanding the body.
Yes. Nursing to me was so fascinating because I was like, wow, like
this is what our body does.
our body is so smart. And, you know, it is an absolute privilege to be healthy and to be able-bodied and, you know, to just read about like how the body just knows what to do. And sometimes it messes up and sometimes people get sick and get diseases. But I'm just so fascinated by it.
So when did nutrition come in? Because you do have a focus on nutrition as well, right?
I do.
Have you always been good with nutrition? And I love how you always put the thing like, don't feel guilty. Like,
yes. So I am a firm believer in food freedom. So let me just kind of preface this by saying like I don't do nutrition coaching. The reason why is because even though I'm a registered nurse and I am a certified personal trainer, I'm not a registered dietitian and I'm not a nutritionist, even though it's a very lax term. So I just don't do meal plans for people because it's literally illegal for me to. But
which is smart. You do that way, but and you don't. I feel like you don't have the mindset of like you have to eat this to get to your goal.
No, I definitely.
It's just like education. You're like, read this, read about this.
Yes, I am not a fan of fear mongering, and I am all about. Again, it goes back to putting the power back into, you know, all people, of course, but my focus is on women. Putting the power back in a woman's hand. Just because you read a magazine or just because your favorite Instagram influencer is doing something doesn't mean you have to do it. Doesn't mean you have to be so easily influenced. You can look at something and be like, number one, what's the source? Number two, are they trying to sell me something? And number three, like, does this fit into my life? Because science can tell you something, but if it does not fit in your life, then is it really going to benefit you? Yeah.
And I think I love that you rather educate than kind of command people to do things. And you've gotten how many? Yeah, you're like, no. Because you do that for yourself. Like you need to educate yourself on this before you're like, everybody go pole dance.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, no, I need to know if this is like, you try it out first too, and you kind of do it from experience. But do you feel that a lot of your clients have to have that vision too? Like, do they ever like ask you, no, can you give me a plan to what to eat? And you kind of have to be like, no.
Yes.
Oh, do you all the time?
All the time.
Isn't that funny how people are just like, tell me what to eat,
They're
please.
like, tell me what to eat. And I'm like, I can't. It's illegal. But at the same time,
you give them
Yes. Yeah. I will still educate them on, you know, what does it mean to have a healthy, balanced diet. I try to just empower them to increase enjoyment as much as possible because, you know, sure, I can whip up like a meal plan and give you this like really structured thing, but like how long are you really going to do that? And what I like to ask is, okay, this plan, can you do this for the next 6 months? And if you're suddenly like, oh gosh, I don't know, and like all overwhelmed, then it's not for you.
And that's totally true. I feel like people do that quick fix.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a lifestyle. Like, this is for you to feel better. And if you feel good, why are you going to go back to not feeling good?
Exactly.
It's that like, do things for 100% or not. But do you ever like kind of turn down a client?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you're not on the same, because you don't want to be like forcing someone to do something they don't want to do.
Yes. And for me, because I because my, career is technically as a registered nurse, my fitness coaching is really my way to like give back to my community.
And you want to
give
enjoy
back
it.
To women.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And I have values and morals. And for me, it's like, if I have somebody coming to me and they want to just have this like really quick weight loss plan and stuff, that is just it's not what I do. It's not what I feel should be right. And it would be a disservice to them, honestly.
Yeah. And you take this seriously. This is a lifestyle change. And you're mindful about it.
I am.
But I 100% support that. Like, you're not doing this, which it's sad. You probably watch some people in the fitness community that just make money off of it. Or here's your meal plan. It might not work for you. We don't know the chemistry of your body, but here, do this. And they're pushing that like 90-day fix or whatever it is. And it's kind of like sad to watch, but as long as you can stay focused on what your mission is, right? And I feel like you've been doing awesome. Last time we talked, like, you had brought on how many clients?
I think I had like 3 new clients.
That's so cool. And when did you kind of start the fitness coach journey?
So last year, I started my blog, right? Mindfullifts.com. I was playing it safe. I'm just saying that right now. I was playing it safe and I was like, well, I'm just going to be a fitness blogger. And then really just in the last 3 months have I actually been taking on clients officially. And it's been so amazing.
And you're married?
I am.
And what does your husband think about it?
So my husband, so we just celebrated 1 year.
Congrats.
It's very exciting.
100 people have asked you when you're having kids. Go on.
Yes. My IUD expires in 4 years. Okay?
Let us
Stop
enjoy our time together. Thank you. Goodbye. Over that. Thank you. I hate when people do that shit.
I know.
As the pregnant chick across the way. But I just like, let people enjoy their lives. Like, can you ask them what's making them happy right now instead of every ridiculous timeline thing?
Yes, exactly.
But so 1 year, congrats. But when you kind of jumped into this, because that's a lot, right? You're a nurse,
yes.
Full-time nurse?
Yep.
Yeah.
3
And then
days a
you're
week.
jumping on. So was he kind of like, are you sure you want to do this right now? Or was he all on board?
He was pretty supportive. He's still learning how to be an Instagram husband. So eventually I'll get more content out there for everyone. But
He's learning that IG husband life. It's fine.
He's learning, okay? So he actually used to be a bodybuilder.
Oh, awesome.
And so he also taught me in the beginning, several years ago when we first met, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm learning how to strength train right now too. Teach me all the things. And there were many moments of resistance, many moments of, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? Who is this person? But he's taught me a lot. And he's one of the first people who ever showed me that strength training doesn't have to be overly complicated. Which I value that a lot.
Bodybuilders have crazy like perseverance to get to where they want to go. So that's intense.
Yes.
They go through a crazy up highs, lows too, because I've talked to a few of them. But that's kind of cool that he brings that aspect to what you're doing too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, because you could see how fitness is, I'm assuming there's a couple of times he did competitions that were stressful and how it's like stress people out. And you're like, no, I want fitness to be like people's outlet, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I like that. I think so did you meet when you were pole dancing?
Yes, actually. So how long has it been? It's been 4 years, I think. 4.5 years ago, I met David on Tinder, actually.
Hey,
Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry.
I did swipe right or left, whatever swipe you're supposed to.
Whatever.
No, but I feel like if you said that right now, it's like a question mark. But back 4 to 5 years ago, Tinder was dating.
Yeah. I was busy and I wasn't drinking.
You were dating though.
So I wasn't going out.
People are married just like you right now from meeting from Tinder.
I was like, what am I supposed to do? Meet somebody at Publix? Hey, I like cabbage too.
I like that. All right. Spinach. All right. Cool. You're just like, what the hell? I don't got time for this. I'm going through school, doing my things.
I'm all about efficiency.
I love that though. So you were in Tampa.
Yes.
Okay. I'm all about efficiency. Hey, Mom, if you're listening, which you will be, you're welcome. But I love that. So you started dating. Did you ever, you probably went on a few Tinder dates. But were you ever just like first time you met someone like, oh, I really clicked with that person? Don't you always give them like a couple dates to like get to know them? Did you click with him right away?
Not necessarily.
No, okay. You're like,
so yeah.
very skeptical at every time.
I had a lot of walls up. And for me, I was like, okay, I got this like bodybuilding looking dude coming up to me. Like, who does he think he is? And I literally asked him.
How dare you have biceps?
I know. How dare you have. Why are your triceps the size of my head? I was very judgmental. I'm not going to lie.
Love you, babe.
But then I asked him, I'm like, okay, dude, what's up? Like, why all the focus on this? And he looked at me and he's like, well, you know, when I was a kid, I had Guillain-Barré syndrome. And I basically had to relearn how to walk. I was in and out of hospitals for 1 to 2 years. And
what age?
I think he was like 7.
Wow.
Yeah. He had to relearn how to walk, everything. He's like, and then I started swimming and I started weightlifting when I was 15 years old. He's like, and I've never taken fitness for granted. And that was one of the first times that I was like, wow, fitness is definitely way more than the superficial level that people usually make it out to be.
Mm-hmm. And wow, what a story he had you at. Hello, nailed it.
And then I was
like, damn nurse heart. You're just like, oh my God.
I'm like, oh my God.
It's a beautiful story. That's awesome though. I think that's super inspiring.
Yeah,
so
he's pretty amazing.
Kind of made you see fitness a little different.
Absolutely.
And you were pole dancing.
And I was pole dancing. For fun, people, for fun. Trust me, I would not be working as a nurse, okay?
I know. I've made so much money. I would not be going to nursing school. Okay, so I really love that. And so you dated for about 3 years till he proposed?
I think it was, so actually
you got married a year
We moved
ago.
in at 6 months. I was like, listen, we're either going to get married or break up. So let's test drive this.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then, sorry, Mom, again.
No, but that's so smart. I lived with my husband before we got married, but like, I'm not going to be like, you can't live together. You need to know if you can't stand this person in your house.
I know. I'm like, this is a lifelong commitment.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So 6 months in, and then who proposed to you or him?
He proposed to me.
You're like, let's move in together. I'll make that decision. So you stayed in Tampa.
Yes.
And then he proposed, and then you guys got married, and you started the fitness coaching while you guys were married, right?
I think, a month before our wedding, I was like, I'm starting my blog. And I bought my domain, and I did it, and I was so embarrassed.
Isn't that fun to do, though, when you just take that leap?
Yes.
I think
was
it's
like, what are people going to think of me? But now I'm like, okay, no. Screw that. I know what I'm doing actually helps people. I'm doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And, you know, they say that the fitness industry is saturated, but okay, if we have all of these trainers out there, then why do women still feel so intimidated walking into a weight section? Why do they still feel like they can't take up that space?
I know.
Why does the thought of literally picking up a barbell like terrify the heck out of them?
Yeah, that's what, like, I do women in leadership in like the IT industry, and it's like, why are we still having events like this if it's not working? Like,
yes.
It's talking about it and really just getting out there. But you're right. I'm like, I don't want to go to that section as a woman, just like lifting my 20-pound weights. But you're right. It's intimidating.
Yeah. I'm a 5'1" midget. And you see me there right next to all these bodybuilding dudes, people with their muscle tees. One of them's my husband.
Yeah. It's my husband.
And I own that space, and I know that I deserve being there.
Yeah, and it's your fitness.
Yes.
Why does anybody else need to be anywhere? As long as you're not grunting.
Please don't grunt. It's awkward.
Please, it's so weird for us. Don't do that to us. But then you have the people like taping themselves, or that sometimes, it's just like there's like a whole batch of things happening.
Yeah.
Or you're watching a form and you're like, is it right? But you don't want to judge them. But you're just like, I hope they're not sore tomorrow.
All the time. But I really try not to judge because...
No, yeah, but you don't want to walk up and be like...
No, please don't do that. Please don't. I honestly... I literally had a man do that to me the other day. And I was just setting up this equipment because sometimes like you have to do things a little unorthodox just because like I'm short and some machines just don't work for me.
Yes,
so I was doing the standing up, the rear delt fly instead of sitting down on it. And he came up to me. He's like, do you want me to teach you how to use that? And I looked at him and I'm like, do you want me to teach you proper form?
Oh my God.
Because he's over here doing pec flies with terrible form. He looked at me and I put my headphones back on and I just went back to doing my thing. I'm like, stop trying to fix everything.
Yeah, I would
okay?
never go up to somebody because I don't know. Maybe it might be there for, I don't know. But sometimes you're just like, gosh, the gym, just different people.
Yes. But if you're listening and you are the person that wants help, sometimes you have to ask.
Which they should. And I feel like
if it's not terribly busy and you see somebody's like kind of finishing up their sets, or just ask one of the trainers, just be like, hey, can you just watch this real quick for me? Make sure I'm doing this safely.
And I think that's a perfect thing to say too, because I feel like sometimes the trainers there aren't focused on helping the people on the floor.
Yeah.
And they're worried about people bringing people in.
Exactly.
And it's like people feel intimidated walking up to them because they're so focused on like getting new members. And that's you should ask, like, why go through hurting yourself or doing something else when you literally could just ask for a spotter or something. Or someone next to you that looks
then screw them. Honestly.
If they're mean, just screw them. It's fine. But you're totally right. Gyms are intimidating for people. I know my husband loves the gym. I love like group fitness because I'm just that person, or a trainer. But like I sometimes have a hard time motivating myself. So I feel like group or trainer help me like kind of get motivated, but you have to like kind of know yourself.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's because of the lack of education I have on lifting, where I like having that person telling me, oh, your form is off. I like that. Not like a random stranger who's like, do you want me to show you how to do that? Not that, but like I like someone being like, hey, that was good, but you need to go lower, and, you know.
Exactly.
But like my husband zones out, headphones, gym. That's his like getaway. And sometimes I used to get like mad at him for like showing me a exercise. I'd be like, I got it. Okay, thank you. Because he's an athlete, he's a baseball player. So I just be like, no, I got it. But now I'm like, I actually enjoy his feedback on it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry for being an asshole back then. I just like wasn't nice to you in the gym. But you're right, because we put up like for women, it's like, can we be here? So I put up that wall, and even to the person next to me is my husband. I'd be like, I already know I can bench this on my own. Thank you. I don't need a spotter.
Proceeds to struggle.
Proceeds to try to lift off Jess and rolls it off of her body. But you're totally right with the taking up space. Like, yes, this is your fitness.
Yeah.
Like, this is your journey. Like, go fucking lift a weight.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. So tell me about like your family. Do you come from like a health? So like I come from a Lebanese, and all my like Lebanese relatives married Italians. So we come from a lot of food.
Delicious.
And yep. And you're Cuban. My husband's Cuban.
Yes.
So my children are Lebanese Cuban, which is nothing but trouble. But a lot of food.
Yes.
And did you ever have like a love-hate relationship with food?
So yes. So I am Cuban. I was born in Cuba. Fun fact. But it's
when
so
did you
funny.
move here?
When I was 2.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
Tampa?
Directly to Tampa. If I would have grown up in Miami, I'd be totally different, I think.
My husband's Miami. He wasn't born in Cuba. His mom was, but Miami. Yeah, you'd be totally different.
Yeah,
you would be totally. I would live there for 7 years. You'd be totally different.
Yeah. But in terms of my relationship with food, so for many years, I did fall into the trap of kind of like looking at a lot of the fear-mongering posts out there of food, and I became really, really afraid of it. I was like, is the reason why I have acne because of dairy, or should I be cutting out all of these foods? Or I tried going vegan.
There's a train going by.
2 hours.
Don't get hit by it.
I'm going to try not to get hit by it.
So loud, so speak louder. I'm sorry. What is up, Ebor? Go on. Sorry.
Come on, pass.
So you had that fear. Yeah, like, what am I? I've done that too. I've gotten like, yeah, I get that.
Yes.
I've had a fear with food.
So I did have an experience with disordered eating. I did not have an eating disorder. I was not anorexic or anything, but I did have disordered eating in terms of like, I was really afraid of eating certain things. In the last 2 years.
I actually never heard it like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people have that.
A lot of people do.
Like a ton.
Yeah. So I'm not a food freedom coach, right? Like I don't coach women through that. It's out of my scope of practice. But I do try to teach my clients, like, don't be afraid of food, and don't,
Guilt yourself after.
Yes, please don't guilt yourself after. But we live in a world that's kind of manipulated by diet culture. And just to say, I'm not against people going on diets per se, in terms of having reducing their calories to lose fat. Like, you're allowed to do whatever you want with your body. Please don't forget that. It's your body. I'm not your boss. You are your own boss. But in terms of like how the media kind of morphs our way of thinking, it's like, oh gosh, if I have these carbs, or it's a cheat day,
Carbs
or
like why can't I have that cheesecake every day? But I totally get that. I always thought carbs were the devil. I was on like a different fat diet in high school. I'd be like, Mom, no, I'm on no carbs. I'm on the cabbage soup diet this week. How dare you make me a regular meal? Like, what is wrong with me? It was bad.
I used to be a server, and I literally had so many women like, oh, I'm actually on the Beyonce diet right now. And I'm like, what is that? And they're like, I'm only eating honey and lemon and water. And I'm like, that's called starving yourself.
Beyonce is something. Or the Lady Gaga diet where you only eat baby food.
Oh, God. Please don't.
There's a lot out there. There's a lot of diets. And in my head, one time it went through my head like, maybe I should just eat baby food with my baby. Maybe I'll lose all the weight. It should be cheaper too. Should we not do that? Yeah. You're right, though. It is the fat. And I feel like we don't realize the issue until like you're looking in the outside because you're comfortable with where you are.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's a problem.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When people food shame, you're not actually shaming the food because food does not have emotions. What you're doing is you're shaming the people who are eating the foods. And that just does not feel good. You know, food has no morality. It's not good or bad. And that's just my truth. That's how I believe people should think. Again, you're allowed to think whatever you want. You're your own person. But I know some people are like, oh, well, I just do this for my health. You know, I cut out this, for my health. And it's like, well, go see a registered dietitian. You know, I know that some people don't trust certain doctors and stuff, but please go get professional help.
Yeah.
You know, you could really hurt yourself. So
like, we know the anatomy of bodies. Like, let us look at this. You're right. And you're totally, because I think it was one of your posts or blogs that was, it took like avocado toast and broke it down to the fear of it into like the health benefits. Yeah. And I was like, shit, people think like this.
Yeah.
I was just amazed by like all the negative things you could talk about avocado toast with.
Yeah.
And then you're like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the fear of food. But you're right. We've come to like fear food. Like, oh, I just ate a full meal instead of a half of meal, or I just had that whole salad. I should have saved half for later, or like anything that we're doing. I've been guilty of it. I'm guilty of it being pregnant. Like every time you step on the scale, you have to remind yourself there's a human in there because you're like, whoa, is this okay? Should I stop carbs? But you're right. It's just that mindset, and it's just really changing your mindset. I'm embracing it. I've been heavy. I was heavy like basically my whole life, but I got the healthiest after my second kid. You know, and I felt good. And I love that feeling of feeling good. It wasn't like, oh, because I look the best. It was, no, this is where I feel the best. Yes. And mentally I feel the best. I'm not fighting with food. I ate it. Okay. Like, get over it. Like, stop sitting there for 24 hours shaming yourself for eating a whole bowl of Chipotle rice, like whatever you did.
Yes.
But I know what you're saying. And I think that's so important that you educate your clients. And it has to feel good when someone does that transition of like coming in just lost with their health journey. And you're just like, I'll educate you on nutrition, but I'm going to focus on your lifting. But I also like you teach them not to fear things. Like, enjoy life.
Yes.
As a nurse, it gives you another perspective, right?
Absolutely. Trust me. Listen to me. The people in the hospital that have all these comorbidities and have diabetes and heart disease and all of these things, I promise that they did not get it from eating dairy alone or eating this certain food that you think is bad. They did not. They definitely did not get it from eating grapes because grapes have so much sugar.
Someone has said that. I love grapes.
All the time.
Every day.
Yes. But, you know, it's just a combination of multiple things. And actually, one of the pieces of that is inactivity. You know?
Get off your phones, get up, go to a walk.
Me strength training, I'm not in there thinking, oh yeah, this is going to make my booty look snatch. It's not what I'm thinking.
I do sometimes.
Yes. It's a byproduct of it. Like, I know it's going to make me look good, you know, whatever that good definition means. But, you know, I'm thinking like, you know what? One day I'm going to be 85 years old and I'm going to be able to actually get off my toilet. Or the very fact that, yes.
And that's definitely a good mindset to have. Does your family support you in this journey?
They do. My mom likes to ask me a lot of questions.
That's cute.
She's really cute. I love
her.
Little
Cuban lady.
I do feel like they focus a lot on like just wanting to like lose weight.
I know.
You know, they're not quite in the
generation.
Yes.
I can tell my mom sometimes she's this tiny lady and you hear her be like, oh, do I look like I've gained weight? And you're like, Mom, you're 66. You're like, you look great. What is wrong? Body dysmorphia. You're just like, what is, but it's generation. Like they don't realize what was thrown into their heads, skinny women walking. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you can't,
it's not their fault.
Exactly.
It's and this is why I'm not quick to praise people when they do lose weight because I know I went through this myself where I was at my lowest weight ever. I had just I had borrowed $8,000 in credit card loans to pay for a boob job that I did not afford. I was constantly obsessed over the way that I looked and everybody kept telling me, you are so beautiful. Like, oh my gosh, like this and that. And I did not feel that way. And I still thought that I was overweight. I still...
Body dysmorphia.
Yes.
Like you're looking in this mirror that like nobody else sees what you see.
Yeah. It was never enough.
But that's good. Right. You can relate to people. Like everybody goes through that, I feel like. We're always at, like, especially when you're like growing up. But you're surrounded by people that are thinking the same way. Like, this isn't enough. I need to do this. And especially right now with just Instagram influencers in general, it's like, this is the look you have to have, or this is how it has to be. And you went through it. So it's like you can share with people how you got out of it.
My first step is I unfollowed anybody or muted if they're friends. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
And I went through, and anybody that made me question my self-worth or made me feel as if I wasn't good enough or honestly just didn't really share my values, it's a goodbye or a see you later maybe.
Don't you wish we knew that in high school? I always say that. Like, so right about the people around you. Are they going to motivate you or are they going to bring you down? And they don't like mean it. It's just the way
they don't mean it. Like, it doesn't mean they're bad people.
No. I love that you unmuted people or you muted people. Super important. I'm going to do that. There's just too many people I follow. I just try not to do social media for a little bit.
Yes.
Like, I mean, we have to for what we do.
Yes.
I like to write things or motivate like our own way. But it gets to your head.
Yeah.
And you have to own that. Like, you have to know it does. And then you watch all these kids. I feel like your way of thinking will help so many younger people too. Not only older people, of course, our age. I'm older than you. A lot older, I think. But it's just so good because we're at a generation of comparing, instant gratification.
Yes.
Quick fixes. And it's so hard to like help somebody who doesn't see it.
Yes.
Like you just throwing knowledge at people is important.
Yeah.
And I love that. So what do you want to tell our audience of 1 million viewers or listeners? I say viewers. No one's watching us. Everyone's listening.
Thank God my hair's
What do you want to – well, we're going to go over all your handles and shit. But like what is something you want to – what's your message today?
So my message to you is with whatever you do in life, know that it's your choice, right? You get to choose whether you wake up today and you go to the gym. You get to choose why you go to the gym. You get to make every decision possible and you should feel empowered by it. And let's say you do make a mistake. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. Look at it, assess it, reassess, you will go through seasons in life where you feel like you're doing everything right, and then seasons in life where you won't feel that way, right? But just keep doing it. Know what your priorities are. Know who your people are, and forget the rest.
I love that. And is there any like quotes or songs you ever go to for your quick fix of motivation?
There's only one quote, and the one that I like literally have it plastered on my wall. It's the Teddy Roosevelt Arena quote. It's really long. I don't know if we have time to read it.
Wait, did you memorize it?
No, I have it on my
phone.
phone.
I was like, yeah, go and read it if you want. I know the arena one. It's Brene Brown brings it up in her. Yeah, yes. I love that. Like being in the arena.
Yes, whoever's listening, go read it.
Okay. Do it now. You're like, do we have time? I need an hour. But no, I love that quote too. Yeah. You're like, it's plastered all over my wall. It's my license plate. It also is repeated in my car as I get in it. But let's go over your handles and your website.
Yes. So I am www.mindfullifts.com. I am at mindfullifts on Instagram. And if you want to keep the conversation going, you can email me at hello@mindfullifts.com.
Hello. I love that you joined today.
Yes, thank you.
And this will be fun just for your clients and your listeners, just to kind of, or people they want to talk about you to, they can just pass on like your mission, your vision, kind of how you got started. I love your energy towards fitness and food. And I know you're not a food. She's not certified to tell you your meal plan. But I think it's super important to have more people like you because of just so much negativity towards just everything, right, with our health. And to have the nurse side of it and fitness side, I just love that it's kind of like both ends, because you come in with this medical backing, but also just like the mindful backing. So
yes, I help people in the hospital, but I also want to prevent people from ever ending up there.
Yes,
too.
That's true. Oh my gosh, yes. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you.
You'll find Grethel on Not a Great Whisperer podcast page on Instagram at Not a Great Whisperer, and at The Real Krey, Krey, and katyray.com. And I love that you joined us today. Ybor was a little noisy in the background, but we love it at BKN Creative Studios. And we're going to sign out with Morty's music. Thanks for joining. Thank you.
Thank you.